Hey everyone, it's me, Ari Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. Donate links below, thank you very much. Above all, pay close attention to this live stream, take notes, pray about it afterwards, and where this knowledge applies in your life, apply this knowledge to glorify Heavenly Father. Thank you. All right, let me share my screen with you. All right, let's read. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. There's a way which seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Proverbs chapter 16:25. There's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Okay? Which you I'm about to read now once First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 22. Abstain from all appearance of evil. It does abstain from evil. Well, you should do that anyway. Abstain from all appearance of evil. But I'll explain that later on. Now we come to James chapter 3, verse 10 to 18. I'm sorry, verse 11. Yeah, hold on. Doth the fountain send forth at the same place, sweet water and bitter? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries? Either a vine figs, so can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh. Verse 13. Who's a wise man, and endueth with knowledge among you? Let him shew out a good conversation, his works with meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descended not from above. Oh, can you all hear me? Okay, good. You can hear me. That's good. From above. But it's earthly, sensible, devilish. For where envying and strife is, there's confusion in every evil work. You hear that? Every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easily entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Now, in short, what am I talking about in this live stream? First, I addressed this topic before a while back with my whiteboard, but it's good to remind us. Listen to what I'm saying over here. In life, you as a human being have no guarantees at all apart from the guidance of Heavenly Father. Let me read this one more time. In life, there are no guarantees apart from the guidance of Heavenly Father. Well, closely speaking, there are two things that will happen. There's death when your physical body ends, and taxes. There's some society demanding something from you financially. Those are the two certain things will happen. Now, resurrection when Christ comes back, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this lifetime. Two things that you will face is it ending, and before it ends during this lifetime, so once you're adult, society will demand financial tribute from you in the form of taxes. And the other thing society will demand from you, but I'm not going to talk about all of that. Just know guarantees of safety, security, sanity, and prosperity are only found under the guidance of the Heavenly Father. They're not found anywhere. So apart from the guidance of the Heavenly Father, you have nothing. Didn't you say apart from me you can do nothing? That means anything you attempt to do apart from the guidance of the Heavenly Father will amount to nothing in the long run. All right? Now, you need to understand the following too. The world is a world of deception. Fallen mankind wants to escape. And when they can't escape, they escalate. They turn violent. That's fallen mankind. Or is mankind naturally violent? No. Violence, however, in its fallen condition, is what people end up resorting to eventually. Whether they rely on the violence of the group, of institutions, or they become violent themselves. That's the curse of fallen mankind, y'all. Just understand. This is how the world is. Are there human beings who want better and were good minded? Of course there are. Every generation has them. Some places have them more than others, but just know it's not the norm. You're dealing with, you don't hear me, right? Okay, you're dealing with a species of creatures that don't want to deal with reality. However, on necessity, people need to get along, so people align themselves in a pattern. And they agree everyone doesn't align with this pattern, we kill. Either they kill you directly by killing your body, or they cause you to die by neglecting you. You end up homeless, starving, whatever. Neglect, listen, there's no such thing as self-defense against neglect, yo. You know what I mean? Neglect is an attack that there's no self-defense against. No gun can protect you against neglect, yo. You know what I mean? So, okay, understand this. In life, there are times you are convinced you're on the right track, only to find out later to regret that you are heading in the wrong direction all the time. Okay, let me give you a parable. You have Jack. Jack is hiking with his wife. They're in Indonesia. They're hiking a trail. And GPS ain't working. There's no phone reception over there, but they have a map. And Jack is saying, darling, over here, just 2 more miles, and um, there's a guest house over there. We can rest there, get some a good meal, and stay for the night. And the wife says, okay, darling. And they walk and walk and walk. 5 hours go by, and they still haven't gotten close. And eventually the wife asks, darling, are you sure we're walking in the right direction? And the man says, listen, the island of Java ain't that big, yo. So we ain't gonna end up at the sea anyway. So they kept hiking, hiking, hiking. Now, evening fell, then days went by, and the children of the couple called um, the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta asking about their parents because they weren't found. So an alert went out to Indonesia for the missing elderly couple. And guess what? 5 months later, their bodies were found. Apparently, they hiked in the wrong direction, and dehydration caused them to hallucinate. So they ended up going around in circles. And the map he was using was the right map, was an up-to-date map. But the thing is, when they did an autopsy, they found out that the husband and the wife ate berries that were toxic. Now, the berries they ate look similar to safe berries in the wild. In the wild, berries grow, but some of them are toxic and some of them are not. He ate berries that looked healthy and safe. They looked very similar to the healthy ones, but they were not. There was a minor detail at the plant that the husband didn't see. Because the toxic berries, the plants that they grow at, had some, it looks a tiny bit different than the plants where you have healthy berries from. But the thing is, the husband was only taught how the good berries look like, but not the origin of the good berries. And he wasn't taught that their berries would look quite similar, but you should never eat because they can make you sick. Well, guess what? When the husband and the wife started their hike, they ate from the toxic berries. So within just a half hour, they would go around in circles, not getting anywhere. And eventually they dehydrated so much they died. Now, what killed that elderly couple? Lack of knowledge. They had knowledge, all right, but the knowledge was lacking. And doesn't the Bible say, "My people perish for lack of knowledge"? Yeah, the other couple died because they ate the wrong berry that looked identical to the healthy one. If they only had a bit more understanding of the plant, then they would have recognized that, okay, this berry we can't eat. Sad, right? Now, let me give another example. There was a there was a woman. Let's call her Amber. Amber was leaving um, the high school graduation of her niece. And at the high school graduation, she noticed that there were some guys looking a bit off at her niece. She didn't know what it was. Whether it was lustful or anger, she couldn't tell. When her niece came in her graduation gown, some of those guys um, kept staring at her. And and eventually, Amber had enough. And Amber asked um, her niece, Jessica, what is guys? Jessica looked at them, got a bit shocked that, there's some guys hanging around here causing trouble. And then eventually, Amber thought, enough. I'm going to tell these guys to F off, or I may call the security or the cops on them. But right before she set her foot to move in the direction, she heard no. She stopped for a few seconds. Well, what is this? Then she started walking the direction again, and she heard again. And she heard, don't do it. She literally heard an audible voice in her tell her, don't do it. But she looked around, nobody was talking to her. She walked anyway. While walking there, her stomach became heavy. Then she stood in front of the guys. And she asked them, young man, are you all good? And I told her, yeah, we're good, man. What's up? You're here for the graduation? Oh, well, we used to go to this school, so sometimes you come around. And then she said, listen, I noticed you're all looking a bit weird at my cousin over there, and she's kind of upsetting, okay? So please stop doing it, or else I need to call security on you. And all the guys apologized, and guess what? They left. Amber left because the graduation was over, and her cousin went home with her parents. 10 days later, her boyfriend told her, "Listen, darling, watch the news." Now, Amber rarely watched the news because she doesn't want all that negativity to affect her mind. But this time, she listened to her boyfriend and she watched the news, and she saw that a teenage girl was missing. Oh, and guess what? It was Jessica, her cousin. Apparently, she disappeared 2 days after graduation. So it's been a while already. And she quickly called her aunt and uncle-in-law, and she was asking, Auntie, why didn't you tell me? And the aunt said, listen, you took a flight all the way here to attend the graduation. I know you're a journalist. I know you're busy. I don't want to bother you. Likely she just ran away with her boyfriend and she may come back. But then Emma said, but Auntie, the police in on it. They put it on TV. They don't do that if it's just a teenager running away. Have you had any contact with her? And no, we didn't have any contact. Okay, call me when there's news. Then a week went by and the auntie called, crying. And Amber asked, what's wrong, auntie? She kind of already knew what she was about to say. And the aunt said, she's dead. Jessica's dead. And she was shocked. And then the aunt said, already got the suspect. And she asked, who is it? And the auntie sent her text message. Hey, here it is. Check your WhatsApp. And what do you know? She became silent when she saw the picture on the police website. That was the guy she addressed the evening of her cousin's graduation. He and his friends looking creepy at her. And the aunt asks, Amber still there? I'm still there, auntie. But I need to go now, Amber. Take care. Take care, auntie. Okay. And Amber didn't know what to do. Her cousin was murdered. Apparently, she on social media it came out that um, her cousin was kind of sleeping around with some of these guys, and that was her boyfriend at the time she cheated on. And he actually hoped to get together with her. And text messages leaked out that they worked towards getting back together. But the thing is, Amber had no idea about all of this. Only thing she saw was her niece in a no niece. I mean, is it niece or cousin? My bad. I can't confuse them right now. I just woke up, guys. But anyway, only thing she saw was no, it's her cousin. Yeah, she saw her cousin in a wedding, in a wedding in a graduation gown, graduating, and these weirdos who look like they're from a gang staring at her in a weird way. She, the being the feminist she is, believing in full equal rights for women and standing up for women, thought, I'm I'm older than my cousin. I've been around. I know guys like that, so let me just show them a boundary over here. So she did what she thought was the right thing to do. But the thing is, when she intended to do it, she already got two warnings not to do it. Actually, three warnings. The third time it was her body resisting. She did it anyway. Apparently, she realized later on her confronting those young men for staring in a creepy way at her cousin made the ex-boyfriend think that she was playing him again, and that triggered him to be enraged. And he had to argue with her 2 days later, beat her up, and she died. Now, it's still the ex-boyfriend that did the murder. Okay, so he's still the one that's to blame. However, I'm not saying anything in his defense. I'm saying he was triggered. He was triggered and he acted on the trigger. That's on him. But what triggered him? The confrontation by Amber. If Amber did not confront him, he wouldn't have been triggered and he wouldn't have acted on it. So is Amber to blame? Now, actually, she's partially to blame. You know why? Because she already felt that it wasn't a good idea to do. But she held on to her convictions, held on to her principles, and she confronted the guys. And later, when she told her boyfriend this, the boyfriend told her, "You know what, Amber? Um, it would have been better if you called security. Let security deal with them directly. Because security is an authority linked with the police. And these type of guys, man, they're afraid of the police. They don't want to deal with the cops. But you being a relative, a woman also, and these guys tend to look down on women, that confrontation, and you're also her aunt, her cousin, it didn't fly well. Okay, it's him that did the arguing and the fight and the beating that led to her dying. But you're right. It would have been better if you didn't confront the guy. And the thing is, if Amber was a believer, she could have read in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, don't correct the fool. She would realize, know what, it's better for me not to do this. Even in the world, they tell you, don't confront a narcissist. Now, this is not to say that the murderer now, the ex-boyfriend, is a narcissist, but you know what? The thing is, when people are not in the right mind and not willing to become better, it's useless to confront. Confront will only make things worse. So Amber mismanaged the situation, and as a result, it escalated. And listen, she triggered escalation, but it doesn't mean the whole escalation is her fault. But she did trigger it, so yeah, she needs to live with that for the rest of her life. Her cousin is dead now. Now, in those two parables I gave you, one of the elderly couple that ate wild berries, but by accident they ate the wrong ones because they looked so similar, and they ended up dying by dehydration during a hike. And the second one, where an older relative, based on her principles and convictions, acts doing the right thing. Now, was it wrong for Amber to confront those young men? No. Was it wrong for her to let them know that, hey, we see you? What is this? It wasn't wrong in itself, but it wasn't a wise thing to do. Intelligence is how to do something. Wisdom is knowing if whether or not you should even do it. Let me repeat this. Intelligence is knowing how to do something. Wisdom is knowing when you should or shouldn't do something. And at that moment, Amber lacked wisdom. The quote unquote wisdom she had was the wisdom of the world, or was the wisdom of devils, was how to control people. But that controlling can only work if you have a leverage over people. And guess what? She didn't realize this. She had no actual leverage over those young men that were staring at her cousin. Now, if she would have sent a security guard, he had the leverage and ties to the police, so it would have worked better. So the wisdom of the world is not actual wisdom. We call it wisdom because it's also it's a counterfeit wisdom, because wisdom is knowing how things work generally and knowing when it's best to do or not to do something. Now, world wisdom or the wisdom of devils, it's all about manipulating or attempt to control situations to escape or to be relieved. That always leads to problems, that controlling attitude. The wisdom from God, the true wisdom, is all about managing life to the best of your ability in a healthy, constructive way for both yourself and other people. That is wisdom from above. Now, this woman had the counterfeit wisdom that Satan offers, the wisdom of devils, this Amber, and she acted on it. It worked short term, the guys left, but long term, it backfired. Listen, y'all, I'm going to keep it at these two parables, y'all, for this live stream. You need to know when to shut your mouth and walk away. Not because what you have to say is unimportant, not because you're not right. It could be you're right, it could be it's good, but what if the people aren't worthy of your effort? What if people just want to control you by shutting your mouth? If they want to control you, they're trying to shut your mouth, or else they're going to beat you. If you keep talking after that, they're going to see that as an attack on their quote unquote sovereignty, attack on their authority, and they're going to take revenge on you. Do they have the right to control you? No, they do not. Do they have the entitlement to decide over you like that? No, they don't. Do they have the right to injure you based on them seeking relief? Because that's all it is in violence. Seeking relief by mismanaging your leverage of other people, causing harm. Do they have the right to do that? No. But whether they have the right to do it or not is irrelevant. They're there with a leverage over you, and they have the ability to misuse it. So if they threaten you, they only threaten you because they see an opportunity to get away with what they're doing. If you carried a gun, they wouldn't dare to threaten you, shut your mouth, or else I'm going to knock you out. Why? Because you could easily pull up your gun and shoot them out of defense, self-defense, and they'll be dead or in the hospital. Or if you are a police officer, nobody's telling you, man, you talk too much, man, shut up, man. Why? Because you're a police officer, and you can interpret this as an insult to a police officer, and you can detain them, and now they have a criminal record. And you have the whole police force ready to back you up with jail cells. And there's a criminal justice system with judges backing you up too. So if you're a police officer in that uniform, if you're out of uniform on the streets, hey, that's different. But if you are in that uniform in your function, even if people feel annoyed by you talking a lot, they're not going to just tell you to shut up, whatever, or tell you to F off, piss off, none of that. Why? Because they know that acting in such a rude, insensitive way towards you, it will likely backfire and haunt them in ways they don't want to deal with. The thing is, the Heavenly Father wants you to have the advantage and the leverage all the time, not so you can escape and take advantage of people, but so they can live life to the best. You know me? The wisdom of devils, the wisdom of the world will always backfire on you long term. The wisdom of God will always benefit you long term, even may be painful in the beginning. Look, y'all, you need to understand when you can do what's right, well, right according to whom? It's right according to you, to how you feel. It's right according to society's norms, right according to your to religious norms, right according to whom? And even if it's objectively right what you're doing, is it wise to do it? In the parable I gave unto you, it was not wise at all for Amber to confront those young men. Think about what if these young men had guns on them and they felt so attacked by being confronted that it turned into a mass shooting over there? What if they were at the brink of a psychosis? You don't know. You know what, y'all? This is why we need to be watchful. It's why we need to watch out. We're taking matters in our own hands our way. What do I mean? Taking matters in your own hands is often used by the court of law when people decide to punish people who harm them instead of going to the police. I'm not talking about that. Okay? I've encouraged people to settle matters outside the court of law as much as possible because the court system of the world is pagan with a satanic backing, which is violence. So it's not from God. And the fact they worship a Greek Nephilim, a Greek abomination called Temis, called Lady Justice, and the fact they have people dressed up like the Grim Reaper with a hammer to stand over your life, that really should creep you out, y'all. But anyway, apart from that, I already make live streams about how to deal with a court system in the world, the Christ way. I already make live streams about that. Just avoid as much as possible. You hear me? One, let's look at this. Taking matters in your own hands can also mean that you decide I'm going to take good care of my health. I'm going to be more prayerful, fasting, all take matters in your own hands. That does not mean that that simply means take responsibility. If you mean take responsibility, we take matters in your own hands, that's perfectly fine. But there's a thin line between take responsibility and playing God. There's a very thin line between take responsibility and playing God. Take responsibility means you own up to a situation. Owning up does not mean situation is your fault. It simply means you admit situation is there and it needs to be dealt with. Okay? Listen. Listen to me very well. To the next parable. Okay, one day, a farmer, a small farmer, was mowing his lawn. Okay? And he suddenly saw some um, rotten potatoes that were thrown on his land. His plot of land is not that enormous, it's a tiny farm. And he got upset, he was cussing. He told his wife, "Man, these son of a bitches throw rotten potatoes on my land. Check this CCTV footage to see what it is." Okay? So on the CCTV footage, they found out there were some teenage boys were doing a prank. You know what I mean? Thinking they're funny. So the farmer went to the police, and the police gave the boys a warning not to do that anymore. But he was disappointed. He expected the boys to spend a night in jail, something to teach them a lesson. It didn't happen. A few months later, there were all these weeds on his land. There were all these rats all over the place. And his harvest was ruined. He had crop failure. And that became a huge financial meltdown for him. Now, he was in financial difficulty, having to borrow from relatives to keep his farm going. After 2 years, he was out of financial difficulty again. His land was producing well. But those were 2 difficult years, yo. So he was wondering, how did this happen to me? And then he found out that the parasites that were on his land, they came from rotten potatoes. So now he decided he wanted to sue those teenage boys. Now, they were all above 18 right now, but the court system told him, listen, what they did was just a prank. Um, it was a misdemeanor. They got a warning, and they were youths back then. They were minors back then. It's over. We can't do anything about it. And the prosecutor even told them, sir, did you clean up your farm immediately when you saw the rotten potatoes? No. And the prosecutor looked at him and said, sir, why didn't you do it? Well, they did it. I expected the police to put them in jail and then force them to community service and clean up my farm, something like that. Even proposed it towards the police, but they didn't listen to me. And the prosecutor told him, sir, if someone throws a rock to your window of your living room and it's glass ever in the living room, of course you're going to be upset at the one who threw the rock. But is you getting upset and angry at the individual throwing the rock change the fact that your window is broken and there's glass everywhere? And the farmer said, no. What should you be doing immediately after your window is broken like that? Well, I need to clean the living room and replace the window. And the prosecutor told him, exactly, sir. When you saw those rotten potatoes on your farm, you should have cleaned them immediately, spray some anti-pest and spray some chemicals you need to fight off toxic bacteria, whatever you need to do. If you would have done that, then those rotten potatoes wouldn't have taken root on your soil, and it wouldn't have been these parasites on your soil that later ruined your crops. And they wouldn't have gone through these 2 years of financial hardship with marital problems too. And the farmer was quiet. The farmer learned his lesson. He, even though he was not to blame for the prank done towards him, he had to own up to it and deal with it properly. And let me tell you, too many people out there, including many believers, don't own up to stuff. You know me? Even, listen, whether it's your fault or not does not matter. Okay, another parable. You had a guy called Rick. And Rick uh, was a college student, part of fraternity. And one day after a festival, uh, the police came at his house. And they told him that a woman filed a rape charge against him. And the police talked to him and asked him to come to the station to give a statement. And he said, I want to talk to my lawyer. So he went to the police station with his lawyer, and he gave his alibi, and there were 10 people that could confirm his alibi. He wasn't even at the location where the alleged rape happened. He was on a total other part of the festival, and he never visited that side of the location where the woman accused him he did something towards her. Here's another thing. This woman, he barely knew her, was someone he saw one time at the class in university. So the thing is, he had an alibi. 10 of his friends confirmed with proof, because there were pictures taken also, that where he was at the night. And the lawyer said, no more further. We don't answer any further questions. Alibi is confirmed. A week later, investigation still ongoing. One of his cousins, a guy who's in the streets selling drugs, all of that. Let's call him Michael. And Michael knew very well that Rick is not into the street life. And Michael did not want to hang out with Rick because Michael knew that his presence around Rick would make Rick look bad, and that wouldn't be good for Rick's future. Because Michael actually wanted Rick to win in life so that later Rick, with his advantage, could help him out getting rid of the street life. Michael was an, or Mike was an, they also called the Mike industries. Mike was an actual supporter of Rick. Now, Mike had no knowledge of law. He barely didn't even finish high school. But one thing Mike and his other criminal buddies told him, saying, "Yo, Mike, that relative of yours, um, that cousin of yours over there, Rick, he needs to go, yo. He needs to leave." And they told him, "Listen, the fact his alibi was confirmed, and there's still an investigation going on, and there were not one, not two, but 10 people confirmed his alibi. Why is still an investigation going on? Why are they considering letting go to trial? Why are they so Mike listened, and Mike told Rick, you know what, Rick? Yo, here I can give you $5,000 now, man, and you can get a ticket to Japan. I have a buddy all the way in Japan, a Japanologist, man. He knows people from the streets in Japan too, and they can make you a fake passport in Japan, and they can with a fake passport you can get a visa, everything, and you can stay in Japan legally on um, under your American passport, but right there you can operate under the fake Japanese passport, just in case they ask you to be extradited over back." And Rick said, "No, man, I appreciate your offer, but hey, I got a lawyer, man. I got this, man. The lawyer got this. It's going to be all right. 10 people confirm my alibi already." Guess what? 10 years later, this Rick was exonerated from the conviction. He lost his, he couldn't finish university, lost all his friends, lost years of his life, never get back. Now he needs to get a job. It's hard to get a job. The thing is, he was shocked when he was convicted, even though his alibi was confirmed. But the thing is, the jury sided with the woman, even though her story didn't add up and there was no proof. So the alibi should have been proof enough. But that shows you that this was a witch hunt. A woman out there was crashing mentally. She decided to lie on a guy instead of admitting that this woman needs help. Because to admit that, to also have to acknowledge that this woman was neglected, that would make the community look bad, make the reputation go down. So they preferred to sacrifice the life of an innocent man to make him the scapegoat, then admit that they are neglectful towards their women. And now they could play the hero by catching the rapist, put him in prison, even though Rick was innocent. And you know what? Rick did what's right. I got my lawyer, we gave the statement, alibis confirmed, that should be it. But the thing is, Rick did not have the leverage. Where the leverage? The police had leverage. The court had the leverage. Also, his accuser also had the leverage because people around her who knew she was lying, they don't own up to her lying and confront her. So the people around her wanted to escape. So they preferred to side with her lying. Then it meant she was a lying hoe who never even been around the one she's accusing. Because for them to do that, she now could spill the beans on them. So because the public there wanted to be left alone, they sided with the accusation and they played the fake like we don't know any better. And that pressure weighed on the police and the courthouse. And because the police and the courthouse cannot improve people, we can only contain violent behavior from the public, they did not want to have drama over the community. So they sided with the public. And courthouses often do this because their purpose is not to bring justice, their purpose is to contain the violence in the public. So at some point, they do succumb to public pressure. And that happened in this case. He became statistics of the wrongly convicted people that had to be exonerated later on. But here's the thing though. If Rick would have done what's best, He would have listened to his cousin from the streets, realized how bad the situation is, taken the offer, fly to Japan while he was still a free man, while there take that fake identity in Japan, and then if they would decide to prosecute him further, he was not around, and they would declare him a fugitive, he could just be hidden in Japan. And after a few years, all the hoax would be exposed anyway, and they would withdraw the arrest warrant, and he could then safely come back to the United States if he wanted, or stay in Japan, whatever he wanted to do. He could always start a new education in Japan and live there. So his cousin had the financial means and the insight to get and keep his other cousins out of trouble. But the thing is, Rick was his own worst enemy because he held on to his convictions, held on to his his values that weren't even practical. It's good to have values as long as your values are practical and beneficial. If your values aren't even useful or even or even detrimental, you should drop them. His cousin from the streets who was selling drugs had better insight of what's going on over there. Now Rick's lawyer knew what was going on, but hey, he was limited by what he was able to do legally. But guess what? The cousin from the streets was not bound legally like the lawyer was, and he actually had the cash, even though the cash was earned. But the thing is, $5,000 not that much. Um, and because Rick was a college student who had a few jobs, you can always say that he has some friends helping out, whatever. So so Rick should have left while he still could. Leave when you can, because there comes a point that becomes hard to leave. Then there comes a point you can't leave at all, and it happened to Rick. He had a window of opportunity to leave and avoid the violence they're about to do towards him. And there were warning systems all along that this is going to go down. People are not going to give up. What did he do? He did what was right, right, and because he did what was right on society in this case. It was also objectively right because hey, he's innocent. Alibi confirmed. There's proof he didn't do it. But guess what? People don't care about the proof. Just want someone to go down because they don't want public unrest. So they wanted to ease the public by sacrificing him, and that's exactly what happened. And did it hiding behind the legal system. And these things happen over and over again. Listen, y'all. Don't be like the Amber out of the parable I used, and don't be like this Rick either. Be like Mike. I'm not telling you to go in the streets to be a drug dealer, none of that, no. But be like Mike over here. Be streetwise and aware and learn to shut your mouth and peacefully leave any situation where people refuse to give up. If you don't have the leverage to shut them down directly, just leave. Even if you have the leverage, sometimes it's better to leave anyway. Okay? Now, are there any questions about this topic? Let me know in the live chat, please. Are there any questions? God is good, y'all. There's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And I'm telling you, some of you who are watching my live stream right now, you feel regret, or you've been living with regret for years, because not because you're nasty or selfish, narcissistic, wanna escape, but because you did what's right and it backfired on you, and people abandoned you right when you need them the most. Listen, if people are not faithful to that Father, how can they be faithful towards you? If people don't want better for themselves, how can they want better for you? Listen, y'all. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Okay? Take your losses and leave a situation when you notice that it's not going to be better. Don't rely on your own ability and your own understanding to fix things. Stop doing that. I'm not telling you to be a coward and keep being on the run. No, I'm telling you to be wise and know when to leave and when to stay. It's always better to take your distance anyway before you do something about the situation. Take your safe distance and then check whether you should fully leave it alone or do something about it. Okay, that was a live stream. Thank you all for being here. Keep agreeing with Christ. Join the links below. I really need it right now. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it if you guys help me out this time. And I will see you all in the next live